Hello everyone and welcome to our final day of HGC China playoffs. My name is Kala and I'm joined by Tetcher. How's it going, man?
It's going good. I've just realised that we dressed up because it's the final day of playoffs and our Chinese colleagues have come in bloody t-shirts. What outrage is this?
Yeah,
They've dressed up the entire season and we try to imitate them once and they ruin it.
Hey man, at least we attempted, you know. We both got the dress shirts on. We're both ready for some incredible games. What do we have in store for us this evening, my friend?
We have our first match of the day, which is going to decide who will be joining Challenge at the mid-season brawl. That is going to be BTG, who thought their way through two opponents. Sorry, thought of an F, not a TH. Fought their way through two opponents to make it to this point. Let's see if they can make it 3 and earn that second spot. But they are against TheOne. Second seed moving into this. And TheOne are going to try and defend their spot that they were able to drag all the way to the Eastern Clash just recently and drag it to the mid-season brawl. And then, of course, our second match of the day will be the finals. Who will win HGC China and take seed number 1 from China moving into the mid-season brawl? And that will be versus Challenge.
See, what I'm most excited about in this, or today in general, is just the fact that the first match is so important because it's going to basically tell us which team goes to mid-season brawl with CE. You know, the second match also very, very important because it dictates who is going to be first seed. But seriously, the fact that this first match we get to watch determines who goes to Sweden, that's a huge moment for these teams, and it makes for a very exciting day indeed.
It absolutely does. CE, they're already confirmed. At minimum, they can come second. But here you see the matchups prepared. BTG and TheOne.SGTY. They joined HGC China at the exact same time, both coming up through the Crucible the same season that I believe E-Star left, actually. So it was the same season that they both started around the midfield. BTG, though, they snuck all the way up the midfield and made it to BlizzCon along with the Eastern Clash. They made it to so many different events, the Gold Club World Championship. TheOne, they were always that little bit lower until this season where they just dominated their way through with a couple just really good go-to strategies that have moved them into this number 2 position.
So yesterday was a really fun day to watch. You know, we got to see RPG, a team that so far throughout the season hasn't performed too well, but then in their playoff run, man, did they ever dominate. They get to BTG, they end up falling in 3-1 against them, but they still looked really good. And BTG, you know, you go against, like RPG against BTG, you would expect BTG to probably be on top, but RPG was playing so very well. But yeah, BTG ends up on top, and really exciting series to watch. But then we move on to watching BTG versus SPT. And that, I did not expect the 3-0 there. I definitely didn't. But man, BTG just looked so on top of their game. They were very precise in their execution. They just looked like a very strong team. So I think this first series today is going to be a volatile one.
Yeah, that last series yesterday basically means also double prediction for our Chinese casters for TheOne. We'll talk about that in a second. But it basically means that this is the first international event that me and Kendrick have been doing, and now me and Kyler have been doing temporarily, that SPT will not be going to. This is the very first one. It's going to be a new guard coming through, but it's still going to be headed. These two teams, they've been battling for second, third, mostly for third position in this league for so long. Now they get to fight each other for second. Here is BTG.
So Druid, LLK, both players that really stood out to me yesterday. And same with 619, like when we were talking about the Zarya game, just absolutely insane. But all of the members of this team were really pulling their weight yesterday, performing very well individually. And as I said earlier, just their execution as a team, to me, watching this team play, like they look like a very advanced team. I was honestly surprised that they're not higher up in the ladder in China. So just very powerful team, and I honestly can't wait to see how this series starts to unfold. I can't even begin to guess how it, you know, what the standing, or sorry, what the results are going to look like here.
But here we have the team of target bans, as it were. It is TheOne. Hugo, Lucky, MVP for last week, not this week though. Meng, ZJZ, and Hehe. Hehe, another really good tank player. Meng and Hugo though, definitely ones to watch. The fact is about this team, as I said earlier, they're a team of target bats. If Lucky gets Hanzo, you're going to have a rough time. If Meng gets Genji, ZGC gets Uther, you probably lost the game. If they can drag you into an Illidan comp where he's been put on an Arthas, then they probably won the game. They always have something up their sleeve.
And honestly, as far as the draft go, they also just have something up their sleeve, as you were saying. Like, you know, we were seeing picks yesterday that I'm personally not used to. Alarak looked like a commonplace pick over here. You know, like the Zarya I was talking about. Like, I was super excited and surprised when I saw Zarya come through. But you're like, well, just wait a second. You know, it's not as uncommon as you would, you know, think it was over in China. So, you know, I love seeing stuff like that. It makes for very interesting games. And honestly, they played it so well. Like, that Zarya looked like one of the most powerful picks that this team can pull out.
It melted, right? It was definitely the best performance of Zarya I'd seen in HGC China. Here are the stats, comparisons between the two teams. As you can see, pretty even most of the way down, with an ever so slight lean in terms of XP, for example, towards BTG, but KDA still leans in favor of the one. But overall, there is negligible difference in pretty much every stat.
Yeah, this is looking very, very close between these two teams, which means we're going to have a, you know, perhaps a close series. So here we go. Yesterday we saw a lot of Volskaya being banned out, so this is awesome. I really like going to different maps like this. Volskaya actually making its way up in my, you know, love list for maps in this game ever since the changes. Volskaya
does something.
Exactly. It's a lot of fun to watch. So here we go. First game of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to it.
And it is going to be the one with the first ban of the day, as this was a BTG map choice. So, the Volskaya Foundry. Priorities. Area control can be a huge deal here, but you can also see stacking heroes getting a pretty good run here in the form of like Crash Lightning Thrall, for example, can get really solid stacking value here.
Alrighty, we're seeing a little bit of a difference in banning so far. So Malthael actually being banned out, Medivh left up completely, Garrosh obviously also banned out here. So the one, they're going to take some time, think about their first pick. What do they want to run with? We saw some first pick Stukavs, we saw some Medivhs yesterday. Nothing like a Phoenix first pick, which, you know, it's a little bit different. Malthaelian as well, we saw a lot of first picks. So the one decide to go with that hero as their first choice today.
Malthaelian, pretty solid, but like you said, we saw a lot of Stukov first picks, so seeing the immediate priority shift from the one is very interesting. This also means that they're already neglecting one of their usual go-to strategies, which is the Illidan Uther. The fact that they don't have the Uther already is very unlikely to run that in a double support lineup, because you really lack damage if that happens. So it's a curious choice here. It likely means we're probably going to stick with the more Hanzo style that they seem to like. Maybe the Illidan draft, but that would still be very strange.
I like that. That could look really good. But if you're BTG, you know, you got that Stukov up. You know, we've seen some pretty early Diablos, perhaps maybe emphasis on Sonya on this map in particular. We got the Stukov, we got the Hanzo. I really like this opener from BTG. The Stukov super powerful, lots of zone control with that silence. Hanzo, I would, you know, willing to say probably one of the best range in the game at this point. Lots of playmaking potential, zone control again with the vision. So I love these first two pickups for BTG. But if you're the one, you see that Stukov, you see that Hanzo, what are your responses when you have the Malfurion?
Well, the Hanzo would have definitely been one of Lucky's go-to picks. Having that stolen away is actually a pretty big deal for him. So he is definitely going on to not a subpar, but a suboptimal pick for him at least. He's going to be having to run something else. In terms of assassins, though, they've still got some legendary Junkrat in there. They still have a little bit of Greymane, but that would be Meng picking that. Lucky's options, he always likes to focus on the Hanzo, so having that stolen away is pretty good.
I definitely see Junkrat coming through in this draft for sure. You know, it's one of his better maps. He can stack up so well on this map with that taste for explosions at level 4 and start doing a lot of damage during the later stages of the game. Yes, it's hard for him to secure kills, but the damage is undeniable. And this is like the double stack style. We got the Junkrat coming in. We got the Thrall, likely not a Crash Lightning, but still, you know, lots of... I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but since the changes, we've seen a little bit of reluctance, usually the Echo Elements level 1, but it's not without, you know, there's a chance that we can see the Crash Lightning. And if so, can you imagine the late game damage that this team's going to have?
It will be terrifying. Cannonballs plus fully stacked Crash Lightning is going to give you a good time. But the whole idea is there are 3 maps where Crash Lightning can still kind of work. Battlefield, Braxis, because you get the 4-man lanes, and then this one, because you have everyone grouped up on the objective without anything else on the objective to take shots.
Yep. Excellent point indeed. So it's something that we certainly could see here. And if we do, like I said, that late game damage potential from the one is going to be through the roof. Tracer is the hover for BTG. Tracer able to get onto that Hanzo, able to get onto the Stukov and do a lot of burst damage. But showing the Junkrat and Thrall already, perhaps Tracer wouldn't be the choice. But Alarak now banned out for the one. The respect ban there. I really like that.
It's a fair shout. We both saw it. LLK was kind of badass.
Yeah.
Just absolutely turning up the heat on that hero repeatedly yesterday. So it's good to see that kind of focus and that kind of knowledge of your opponent's drafts.
BTG, they need their warrior, you know, they need an offlaner. Likely, maybe not even likely, but I can see a Diablo working well here into this Junkrat. Perhaps some of the other warriors we could see here, maybe an ETC. What else could we see?
And the noob, possibly,
yep.
But you don't have huge amount to dive into. It would more be a cocoon for the Malfurion kind of thing.
Is there a Sonya here?
Like
do you see it?
say again, sorry?
Do you see a Sonya in here at some point, maybe?
Almost certainly, I would say, is their solo laner, unless they want to run maybe like a Grey main as their solo laner, which they could do to also steal that away from Meng, since that's one of his top heroes. But for all we know, Meng could be playing the Thrall. It is an unusual pick to see them pick a Thrall in the first place. So here comes Diablo and Genji coming in here. So hyper-aggressive draft from BTG.
The Shimada brothers here for BTG, the Diablo, the pick we were discussing, able to, you know, threaten that Junkrat as well as the Malfurion. Honestly, anybody that steps up, Diablo can threaten. Lots of geometry here to get those stuns, get a lot of damage there, and then of course the Genji to follow up, so a lot of playmaking potential. And yesterday we were discussing the combination of the Dragon Arrow and then the APOC afterwards, so there's the synergies between Hanzo and Diablo as well. But now you're the one, you see that Diablo, that Genji, you want some sort of lockdown for these heroes, maybe some percent damage if at all possible, but they already kind of elected for their solo laner-ish in the Thrall. They need a warrior, maybe something along the line, like they could go another solo, like they could go something like a Leoric, but that's a lot of frontline damage.
That it is. That's an interesting point. I really don't know. For their tanks, it's going to be Tiger, so triple ranged assassins. So they could have even picked a Tracer and Muradin here. So it's probably going to be Lucky on that Tychus, Meg on the Thrall. No, Lucky's on the Junkrat. This is a weird draft. This is quite unusual. So Hugo on the Thrall, Lucky on the Junkrat. I would hope Meg on the Tychus.
Okay. The Tychus does make sense. I mentioned the Leoric just because I see percent damage working well here against the Diablo. It was basically either between Leoric or Tychus that I could really see coming through in the draft, and then Muradin was chosen for the Warrior, so just, you know, a way to CC this Genji if he does manage to get onto the backline. Now BTG, you know, likely just picking up their solo laner. You and I discussed that it could be the Sonya, you know, something like Leoric could come through. I personally would love to see a Blaze here, but this is China's, you know, Blaze doesn't show up very often.
Yeah, not even SBT's games, but they also lost very quickly. Yeah. But that's where we would usually end up seeing a Blaze, but not this time. So, BTG, like I said, I wouldn't mind another frontliner, but so you can at least juggle. That's the issue with going up against the Tychus. Leoric is a good choice here. I very much am a fan of that, but the whole issue with going up against a big percentage damage hero like Tychus is, oh no, he's going to get value all the time. But the other issue is, if you don't do that, then your tank eats all the percentage damage, has to back out the fight, you have no front line. You kind of have to go at least 2 frontliners, even if one is in the tank, just so you can juggle aggro so that your backliners can stay a little safer.
So I want to quickly discuss the Tychus versus Leoric matchup. I actually do think that Leoric is not a good hero to pick into Tychus just because he can get chunked out so easily, and he doesn't really do much to step up to Tychus and really threaten him at all as a solo laner. It's not like the likes of Sonya who can step up into Tychus and like actually land the Q, land that spear, and chunk him out quite heavily. So it's a little bit of not the greatest matchup for Leoric, but still I do like the fact that they ended up going him. You know, if they're able to lock down any targets with the Entomb, you know, onto something like Malfurion or onto Thrall, then you can have the APOC to follow up. So there's some synergies there. Lots of control on the side of BTG, but same with the one, you know, they've got this Junkrat, and on Volskaya, it's a single point of contest. So they can lay down the steel traps, they can lay down those concussive mines, and again, just the ramping damage of the one during the late game might be too difficult to deal with.
Yeah, the zone control that Leoric can offer could be a little bit too much for BTG to deal with. However, this is not a TheOne draft. They've sort of just gone kind of normal, I say, kind of standard in terms of their heroes. Let's see if it works out for them, though, as we load into Volskaya Foundry. And spawning on the left-hand side, it is BTG with 619 on Diablo, LLK on Genji, Druid on Stukov, Dancing on Hanzo, and Lai is playing the Leoric.
Looking good. On the right in red, we've got TheOne. It's Hugo on the Thrall, Lucky playing the Junkrat, Meng on Tychus, ZJZ on Malfurion, and Hehe playing the Muradin.
There is the Crash Lightning and the Perfect Storm coming in for Muradin. He's ready to go.
This is stacking cleave for TheOne. They've got stacking on Junkrat, they got stacking on Thrall and on Muradin. So the late game damage is going to be absolutely insane for this draft.
Counter stack, we're seeing the perfect geometry for Hanzo. Would have been hard for him to not go stacking, to be fair. He has no non-stacking level 1 talent. But we see, mostly other than that, pretty normal. It's dash for Tychus, pretty good when you're against the Diablo because you have to have that mobility to get out if he does engage onto you. The range would have been the other option and would have been okay considering you're against the double tank. One of them who does drop a lot of slows, but the speed is also just as good for chasing in this case.
Lai getting chunked out quite a bit by the Tychus there in the rotation. Muradin going to be able to heal up quite well with that glow, but here comes Diablo. There goes the root and the flip onto this Tychus. He's in a lot of trouble. Health so very low, but able to escape is Tychus. Nice job by the members of TheOne to peel for this hero, get him to safety.
Hugo pieces out back up to the mid lane to continue getting XP. Genji and Junkrat currently holding the solo top lane against each other. Junkrat a little bit more standard for this lane than Genji is, at least.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd matchup for sure. It's quite reactive too by BTG, and I like it. You know, you just get the Genji up there to catch any of the soak that Junkrat pushes in. But what's really going to be important is how both of these teams control the fortification camps. You know, it gives so much experience, and the fortification camps, when you have them during the first objective, can be absolutely huge. Lucky taking the the weaker end of the trade there, getting massively chunked out. Now Diablo in a lot of trouble. Tychus comes up and secures first blood for TheOne.
Nice done by Hehe as well. Down goes another one. Good kill, Meng, with the great rotations. And then the follow-up by Hehe, who had regened a fair amount due to his second wind.
And TheOne, they have a late game style composition. So getting 2 picks like that this early is huge for their comp. Now, immediately 2 members, Thrall and Malfurion, onto the fortification camp, looking to pick up that turret, get that additional XP for their team. So just right out of the gates, TheOne controlling these rotations, getting these picks, and just kind of dictating the early game of this map.
BTG, though, grabbing their own fortification camp here. They don't want to be left behind here at any point. In the rhythm, coming in for Tychus here. He's got 2 big old frontliners in front of him. He wants to stack. Thrall, of course, with the mana regen, needs to keep himself sustained through the fight as well.
I actually really like that he went in the rhythm over the bigger they are. So, having consistent damage throughout the entire health pool, I think, is going to be more important, considering the fact that TheOne's draft doesn't really have the ability to close out kills. You know, you have the chunk damage from Thrall, chunk damage from Junkrat. You need a way to close out those kills. So I actually really like the fact that Tychus chose this build.
They move on. Hugo pinging out the lightning, gaining stacks, gaining damage, as Hehe in his entire job right now to just stand here and hold the line. He drives Leoric off for a second, but Leoric still holding here. Diablo even rotated down to bot lane quickly for a little bit of extra XP. His team still behind, though. It's literally just going to be Hehe versus Leoric for a while now. Drain lands, though. Hehe has to step off a bit as they continue to duel on this objective. 619 still looking for XP. Gets demounted by ZJZ. That will slow this down at least a little bit. And the first percentage is going to go over to BTG.
Which is huge, because now TheOne have to step up and force the members of BTG off of this control point in order to start gaining some of the momentum in their favor. And here they go, just immediately walking in as 5, just dominating in their presence, able to step up and take control almost for themselves.
TheOne Trying to force back. At least it is neutral, so this is a good opportunity. There we go. The percentage begins to tick up for them. They are fully committed to this. Both teams at level 7 talent, so they're pretty happy to just stand on the point and get ready to scuffle. Genji goes for dodge here, trying to get out of Tigers. Tigers gets flipped. Genji moving in to try and pick up the kill onto Meng, and Meng is deleted here. Hehe also forced back off the point. Turret gets killed off by 619. And that is going to be the percentage, once again, tick it up for BTG. And this is first kill of them.
That's absolutely huge, too, because BTG still have a turret for their side. So if the members of the One decide to step up and try to take this control point for themselves, they're going to have that turret advantage, which is huge for BTG. But the rotation from Murden to come down picks up the kill onto Hanzo. So overstepping is the ranged assassin of BTG.
Hugo in a little bit of trouble, though, pulling back, but they've been able to draw into the kiting position, into that lovely choke point. A good route from Malfurion prevents escape, and we see BTG being forced off the point. But Genji, once again, round 2 on Meng. Stukov with the silence. Diablo looking for Hehe here. Hehe getting out of the drain of Leoric, though. That's pretty huge, so he doesn't take the percentage damage. The roll has been doing huge damage to the backline heroes here, even without his lightning fully stacked yet.
The One getting pushed off here. There goes the Diablo looking for the combination on a Hehe. Doesn't quite find the CC, but silenced is Tychus trying to do a lot of damage with the auto attacks. The minigun not just quite doing enough. And there's the grenade getting the kill onto Lai.
Lai got junk-ratted there, followed up by a good Tychus grenade as well for the kill. And Hugo trying to neutralize the point here. They have a mana advantage, but not a health advantage. ZJZ is super low and has no mana here. So he's just trying to do anything he can, just only heals basically, no moonfires, to keep his team alive as Hehe getting zoned out, dropped down, Genji finds him, and over-ambitious play by the One here. They're forced to back up. Lucky may fall here. No Swift Strike available, but this will be the first Protector of the game going over to Beyond the Game.
And what an epic battle that first Protector was. It lasted a very long time, but BTG, they pull it out in their favor here, immediately onto this mid wall, likely going to rotate top, to start taking out top wall as well, just kind of in preparation for the next phase of the objective. They want to see if they can take top wall plus the well so that they have the sustain advantage over the next control point, which is going to be spawning top. And here we go, BTG immediately onto this one. Level 10's coming in for themselves as well.
Putting the pressure on, Fountain is priority, and it is going to get walloped. Down it goes as they move on to the fort here. Even a little bit of damage onto Meng, who just tanks it. Absolute man mode here, as he does eat a little too many shots, though, and finally has to back up. This fort should fall here. One more freezing hand should be available pretty soon if they did want to dive it. But it looks like they don't want to take the risk due to Hehe wrapping around. They'd rather zone him away and try to get the kill, get the root, but good Dwarf Toss for freedom.
BTG, they got a lot off of this, though. Top fort is at 50% HP. Mid wall is opened up, so BTG feeling pretty good about that one. But Diablo stepping up a little bit too far, manages to get away. 619, the legend of escaped. And there goes the Earthquake, just trying to get a little bit more for the One, but the disengage from BTG is there.
That was a 5-man Dragon Arrow, and they weren't able to finish it off and get themselves a kill there. As level 10's hit for both teams. Such a good move in by BTG, but unable to execute the targets due to the counter control.
BTG now just focusing on their camps. Same with the One, likely will be looking at picking up their fortification camp. Both of these teams just trying to prioritize on picking up as many items as they possibly can. Likely we might see a fight over this support camp as well. A huge boon in strength when it comes to controlling the control point, which will be the next objective, of course. So if you have that camp able to step up onto the control point, heal your heroes better than the enemy team. As far as just the all-out team fight power goes, I would say BTG's composition has the ability to just, make things happen quicker for themselves. So if BTG are able to find a fast team fight, with the APOC and Dragon Arrow combos that you and I were discussing earlier, I think that BTG can find these fights and be quite successful in this game. But the One, they're starting to ramp up in damage. I'm not sure what the stacks are at for both Thrall nor Junkrat, but, it's got to be pretty healthy at this point. That first fight was quite long.
Yes, it was. Thrall, I wouldn't be surprised if he is at least focusing heroes at this point. but we are unaware and don't have the ability to see right now. Look at this position. Junkrat with the concussion mine on the support camp, just in case it was raided. Nice little trick there that we see from a lot of the professional Junkrats these days. As we see he moving back in, doesn't get another stack on that perfect storm. Good job by BTG, able to dodge that.
Having the support camp is going to be very, very helpful for the one. As we discussed earlier, just very powerful when it comes to this team fight. 13s here for BTG. So they're feeling pretty good about this one, but are they able to take anything with this little bit of an advantage? It looks like not, because there's nothing open on the map at this point. 27 stacks on that crashed lightning, so looking pretty good. Only 33 on the taste for explosion, so not quite getting there yet is the Junkrat stacks, but you know, all he needs is one really long team fight in order to make that happen.
Hammer comes out, not landing. He pulls back a bit, doesn't want to get himself caught out and lose that support camp, despite 619 really wanting him to do that. But the safety is more important. Genji continues to be a pain. Good Storm Bolt. That was just cool. As he completely interrupts 619 Shadow Charge and pulls back. Junkrat already rotating his way up towards this top area. Leoric taking a little bit longer, spending the rest of the time cleaning the lane. He knows his team has a level advantage. He can spend a little bit of extra time just due to the potential reluctance of the one. But the one finally starting to move up. Junkrat looks like he's actually going to go for one more minion wave bot lane and just trust Hehe to hold this.
Interesting. Yesterday we did see the emphasis on the W build for Leoric, and today we're seeing a little bit more of a standard build. So like the Wraith Walk style build to reduce damage, which I am actually really liking here, especially considering how the backline damage for the one is just absolutely huge. So I love the little bit of an adaptation from Lai.
Looks like Thrall is done on Crash Lightning according to those stats at the bottom, and a good 3 minutes quicker than Chicken from RPG here. So that's pretty good by Hugo, but he's had the opportunity to do it quite a lot. The percentage though, long as this goes on, is just continuing to tick up for BTG here. Finally, Thrall moves on to the point along with Muradin. Lucky arrives. Genji pretty close behind him for that counter attempt as dash is completed by Tychus, and we're seeing the one attempting to make an effort to force the point.
Likely going to drop the support camp here. There goes the Avatar by Hehe. The Entomb comes out, catching two, and there's the APOC to follow it up.
The good Odin to prevent himself getting caught in the APOC, but he still took the damage, and with Muradin down, this is terrible news for the one, but this could be the turnaround they're looking for. Riptide coming in, it's going for the backline, just buying them some time as the Auric goes down. The Odin is tanking through like a master here. There's the root onto Diablo, he goes down. And that Odin by Meng absolutely saved them that fight. And the Riptire, what a zoning tool.
That was it, wasn't it? It was pretty much all the Riptire there. Genji jumping in, LK trying to secure a little bit more damage onto ZJZ there, but not able to get it killed, but does get Malfurion away. What I wanted to quickly bring up is the fact that if Junkrat uses that Riptire before the apocalypse, Diablo could just use APOC to interrupt it, so I love the fact that Lucky held that one and then used the Riptire in order to gain all of that damage onto the backline of BTG. Excellent team fight by the one.
But here we see, even though the one won that team fight, they still had to give up the point because Diablo had 100 souls. He revived. Guess who else revives? Leoric, the only two people they actually killed. So the entire fight that they won, everyone just came back way before their own team did, meaning that they were fighting a 3v5 again. So they had to give it up anyway.
The double survivability composition in the Diablo, in the Leoric, but now Meng getting aggressed on here. The Hehe jumping over, getting some damage onto LLK, but the swipe is there to kind of disengage things from happening. Also, the Riptire gets destroyed.
Yeah, got punched by the Protector. ZJZ eats line-based damage. I still don't know what that's called by the Protector as it takes down that middle fort. The Protector, though, pops out. Hehe in position. Stun on Hanzo. APOC down, but Hanzo already deleted. Dragon Arrow completely whiffed, and Odin's online. Moving forward, mech for mech, as they just chase forward. Destructive, not even close fight by the one. They crush through. 4-man kill there, with only Leoric surviving, and they're just going to get a mid-fort of their own.
BTG got nothing with that Protector. They roam mid, they try to take out the mid fort, which they end up getting, but the amount of damage that they traded onto the Protector for taking that fort was huge. They had like 10% left once the fort dropped, and then the members of the One just chased in, destroyed it. Hanzo had nowhere to jump to. The Stormbolt lands, instantly destroyed. Off of this, look at Dancing just stepped up too far, gets killed there immediately off of the Protector, and then the rest of the One just push in, and there's very little that BTG can do about it. Druid gets caught there, 619 trying to escape, LLK also just getting destroyed by the Junkrat, so much area damage from the One.
Such amazing chain CC there as well. Stormbolt, and then the second it ended, a Thrall Spirit Wolf came out as well. Super well played by the One, and finally they are a full level ahead, and they are approaching level 19 at least. So they might, if they're able to soak well enough, have level 20 by the time the next objective spawns.
The One looking at picking up their camp here. Obviously, Hugo can pick that one up, so another member of the One coming in to grab that turret. Also, members of BTG focusing on their fortification camp, picking this one up. So just, again, both of these teams focusing on picking up as many items as they can in between these control point phases. Siege camp also being picked up for the One, so they will have this little bit of an advantage pushing topside. And we have to mention the fact that the One is closer on their route to level 20. So those talents, the Storm tier talents, will be coming in sooner for them. And BTG, they recognize the fact that members of the One are topside, and they rotate bottom just to get a little bit of structural damage onto this bottom side fort.
Speaking of stuff to mention, we're not seeing the usual... You mentioned this is a slightly more usual Leoric draft, and he's gone and thrown that all out the window. Not going for the usual enhancement with the Royal Focus.
Yeah, that... Is that the caster curse? Is that how that works? You know, we talk about
I think so. Yeah, we mentioned something, it automatically does not happen. But yeah, instead we end up seeing a good, even more old-fashioned style here. The Crushing Hope. The extra 15% of maximum health from Leoric's Drain Hope. So, interesting to see. Once again, very old-fashioned style here.
BTG are feeling... What's the word? They're not sure exactly what they want to do here because their opponent's just hitting level 20. The control point spawning bottom. Members of the One pushing in bottom, looking to take this fort, just taking everything from their opponents. Here comes the Wraithwalk out of Leoric, but another fort picked up. And here we go. So BTG actually with the smart rotation top to just take a fort if they can, but they're going to have to back very soon because if the One are just able to step up onto this, and here we go. Here comes the big red button. This is going to be a huge push for the One.
Big commitment, going to try and control here and hopefully not die. If they don't die, they're going to get the Protector. They can push him with the Protector onto that keep, maybe onto the core if they can even get this keep right now, because this is the attempt. Junkrat is prepared. Genji and Diablo desperately trying to soak level 20 for their team so they can get a counterplay here. But like you said, this is potential end game pressure once Junkrat finishes that Protector.
Hanzo.
That stun onto Hanzo, finally able to leap away via a fountain.
He is a really good Muradin player. Has he missed a single Stormbolt this game? Perhaps one or two, but when they all count, he lands them. So, wait, I accidentally said he. But yeah, he's been playing so very well. Now, the One, they have their 20s. Obviously, bottom keep very low. They've got this Protector. So, the burden of execution here is on BTG. They need to destroy this Protector and win this fight, or it could very well be game.
Level 20 is online for BTG. Last-ditch effort. The One trying to work out who the perfect combo for this Protector is. They've put Tychus and Junkrat inside it. So they move forward. They've kept all of their crowd control heroes outside it, or their main crowd control heroes outside it. Thrall staying super far back, making sure that they're not wrapped around from behind by the Genji. They're being so cautious about this. They're not going to try and end the game off this.
Interesting choice by the One. Instead, they're just going to look to, take as many structures as they can, open up this map, maybe even just wait to see how this fight unfolds, because they still have 45 seconds left on this Protector and 50% of the HP pool, so they're not in any rush to really just all in on the core. And with their two main damage dealers in this Protector, they don't really, have anything outside to threaten the members of BTG. So while this is a safe approach, we can appreciate it, because as we mentioned, the late game damage from the One is just... It's unbelievable. Like, it's so good with this Junkrat, this cannonball build, spread volley, the big red button. So if they get an honest fight on the next control point, like, they should be quite well prepared to handle it.
Yep, they've got catapult pressure. They have lane control right now. They are still they're not really gaining stacks so much anymore because they are just playing so safe. This is such a strange style, bringing a protector all the way back to their base, just chucking out random abilities here.
I am trying to figure it out. I am. The one thing I did want to mention as well, BTG not choosing to go for the play of the game on Hanzo, so they don't have that pseudo global. Hanzo not able to sit bottom and take out any of the catapults that end up pressuring in and then join the fight with the Sonic Arrow. So that, you know, BTG, they do not have any way of killing those catapults without fully committing a single member into the bottom side.
Look at BTG though. This is exactly why we saw the Protector just throwing out random abilities to see if they could see this happening. The BTG realizing we have level 20, our keeps open. Let's just try and kill people. If they, let's see if we can go for, as it is called, in fact, since like 2 BlizzCons ago, the good old-fashioned Chinese bush meta, as we see them just waiting for a late game end game scenario via kills.
So even though the one's draft works very well late game, we have to mention the fact that they had a protector, they had 20, and they had a potential end, and they did not risk it. So it might come back and bite them here. BTG now getting a 20 versus 20 fight to try to, you know, swing the game in their favor. So it could go either way, and here comes the Entomb.
There's a Dragon Arrow, Genji moving in as well. Where's the Odin? Not even being used as Tychus turns around and just shreds 619. Here comes the Riptide into the backline, looking for Druid. Gets a good double hit on Druid and Dancing as the Yorick gets shredded, but a good kill in the backline by LLK. Cheeky kill on Junkrat there. He jukes Muradin. Is he still going? Looking for ZJ then one-man Wrecking Crew. Quick pause.
All right, we're back onto our lovely faces, but man, okay, so they traded out the Diablo kill to get a kill onto the Junkrat, which is absolutely worth it because Diablo had full souls. So BTG actually up on that team fight, and one Dragon Blade swipe away and Malfurion dies. So BTG are in an excellent position here to win this team fight and perhaps even move towards, you know, stepping into the right directions to win the game for themselves.
Yeah, and wow, what an insane turnaround there at that fight. I really thought the second that they were able to get the kill on Diablo that the game was pretty much over. But the fact is, Genji able to pick up 1 kill, potentially 2, and if he gets out after this kill with the Dragon Blade, then it's probably saved them the game. The one might still, BTG might still be in this.
And that's like, you and I were just kind of discussing it, the fact that the one, they weren't willing to commit onto the core to see if they could end the game. And that opens up BTG to having an opportunity at a 20 versus 20 team fight. And the one, they consciously decided to give BTG that 20 versus 20 team fight, and it looks like it was massively beneficial for BTG. We're not sure the circumstances on the pause just yet, folks, but
I can ask.
Yeah, Genji just absolutely blowing this one out of the water. And you know, that's the difficulty, you know, when you face Genji at level 20, he has the Dragon Becomes Me, and his Dragon Blade becomes even scarier if you're against him. And there's not a lot of, you know, huge lockdown on the side of the one. So Genji, you know, once the Stormbolt goes out and maybe once Twilight Dream isn't there anymore, he's pretty free to do what he wants.
Didn't even go Twilight Dream though. He went for Tranquility.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, of course. But that, and you know, even more of a testimony. There's just not a lot that really counters the Genji. Yeah.
You're right. He is kind of in control at the moment. Oh, we're back in. Looks like Malfurion did, in fact, die. And Genji is still going. Finally going to give up. But he's... No, never mind. Still looking for Hugo here. But Hugo barely survives. Now he is the target. But a good double stun will mean he is not able to escape because Leoric is back. He drops the avatar. He's versus 5, leaps over the wall for freedom, trying to get away. Can Hugo save it with the multi-man route? As the bullseye lands, there's the root buried alive with the silence, and Muradin finally goes down.
LLK looking for another one, trying to get some damage onto Meng, but not able to find it here. And BTG absolutely destroying the members of the one. No camps up at this point, aside from their own siege camp. Massive catapult pressure on the bottom side of the map. So actually, you know, it might even do a little bit of damage to the core here. So they're going to have to back up and clear this one out. Looks like just the 11%, you know, not the end of the world, but Muradin will be back in the next 30 seconds. So still, the one will be able to contest this control point here, which will likely be the last team fight of the game.
Possibly. This could result in a backdoor attempt by TheOne. This could, if TheOne wins, they march in bot lane. If BTG wins, their mid lane's weak enough. They could just try and run through it. This is going to be close. Muradin in 14 seconds, which is going to be so late for this fight.
He is, absolutely. But if TheOne are able to step up, once the Muradin gets back here, you know, they might have a chance to try to take this control point for themselves. But BTG are getting everything right now. Both of the fortification camps under their control. Support camp also going over to them. So this is quite the steep path for TheOne to traverse. You know, you're against all these items. You're against this huge team fighting power of BTG. This is looking pretty scary.
That it is. As TheOne, they're trying to just get any value they can. Grabbing their own mercenaries. Look at BTG's positioning though. They're stealing the turret camp, getting even more defensive capability. They want this to be a fight on their terms. They're not in the best position, but they finally move in. Turret already down. Junkrat's job with the cannonballs already sieging that in, putting the pressure on, giving themselves a chance to raid it. But those turrets have so much health.
Yeah, and still the support camp up for BTG. They will have it likely going to go down soon. Here comes the Entomb and the combination.
With the buried alive, so much value. Tychus is deleted here. Lucky has pulled back. Spread volley for the last ditch effort. Sieging in the damage. Dancing is forced to back up. Riptire is interrupted here. The Ice Block on Mafia keeping himself alive at least for the moment. In comes Genji with the Dragon Blade trying to get the kill as Light is taken down. Good stun by Muradin. Looking for Genji. If he can get him, that will remove huge kill potential, but he can't do it. Druid is so far forward. He will go down. The overtime is being held by Hugo. Diablo is down. And it's a 2-for-1 in favor of TheOne. They will be able to get the protection. They even get Genji thanks to the chase of Lucky. The core is dying. This is gonna be it. TheOne will be taking game number 1.
That looked like a team fight that was going to go in BTG's direction. They immediately get the blow up onto Tychus, but the sustained damage from TheOne was just too much for the members of BTG to deal with. And it just shows why they ended up picking this Junkrat and this Thrall and this style of composition that early in the draft. GG's TheOne taking game number 1 today on Volskaya, and very well played indeed.
Well played by TheOne. That looked like it should have been a disaster from that fight. They were fighting into a turret against a team that pretty much already had the protector percentage-wise, but the perfect raid, the perfect controlling of the fight positioning. Druid got stuck way out of position. Genji unable to finish the job with Dragon Blade. Even though they killed Tychus as the first person to die in that fight, BTG could not finish the game.
They had everything going for them. They had all the camps that they could have wanted, aside from maybe just like one extra fort camp, but they had the support camp. You know, they had the style of composition that could just do really well in that fight. They get the immediate blow up onto Tychus, but yeah, they just weren't able to find the rest of what they needed in order to satisfy their win condition. I actually think it probably would have been better for BTG to back off of that fight after they got the kill onto Tychus, maybe even tap and then walk in, perhaps clear bottom, because bottom was being pushed in so far by TheOne, and they had an honest 5v4 for, it was going to be 60 plus seconds because Tychus got blown up. Yeah. So, you know, time was on BTG's side, but they felt pressured and they forced into that team fight. They end up losing. You said yourself, Druid was super far out of position, and I agree. Like they just did not play that team fight very well. And TheOne, they held on even though they had some issues there and ended up taking the game. Very well played by both of these teams, and honestly, it looks quite well matched here.
Well, that basically means, like you said, this is quite well matched. Either of these teams could be taking this at this point. I would not be willing to predict, even after that game, who I think would win this series. But it's a best of 5. It's still lots of time for BTG to recover, and TheOne still have a lot to fight through. We will do a little bit of a rundown on all the stuff that people might be wondering, as all the questions that have come into the chat for the start. For starters, Kendrick is not here because he is in Japan having a little bit of a holiday, meeting up with some of the Heroes community members over there. So as such, the wonderful Kala has stepped up to not only the casting desk, but the production desk for the first time and is doing a fantastic job. So once again, a huge thank you to you for that.
Thanks so much, man. Really, really appreciate it. And this has been such a pleasure to be able to cast your guys' beloved region and also cast alongside you. Like, it's just been so much fun. These games are really awesome, really exciting, very fast-paced, very aggressive. It's unlike anything I've ever casted before, so I'm having a great time. I think we've got some of the stuttering issues all figured out. I tried to do it during the last game, so... Just everybody let me know if there's any more issues, and we will I will do my best to try to fix that one. But as you mentioned, this is my first time hosting, so I am doing the best I can, and yeah, I hope everyone's just having a great time.
And the other thing people might be wondering is what exactly we're doing here today. This is the playoffs for the Chinese region, and this match right now, the winner of this is going to mid-season brawl. No questions asked. They are going to mid-season brawl, the winner of this series. The team that, however, once they win this game, they will be moving on to play against Challenge. Winner of that will have first seed going into the mid-season brawl. I just had a little bit of a lag, so we're going to have to resync because we are casting from clean feed, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, I am on 6.65.
5.73. You want me to pause and play?
I'll try and get down to you.
Okay.
I've gone higher. 5.85.
Nice. 5.73.
That will do. Sorted. Well, 6.1, but it's still less than half a second, so it will do. So, Hugo gains MVP there. 91,000 hero damage. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Disgusting. He stacked it, what was it, 11 minutes or 12 minutes?
I think so. Yeah, it was like 10.41, I think.
I just have to formally apologize, man. I didn't believe in the crash. I didn't. And we saw it there. This was obviously, we discussed it. This is the map to choose. Yeah, it was the map to choose Crash Lightning for sure. And I actually liked the fact that he went it. It kind of just lended to their style of comp. They wanted to play back a little bit. They wanted to chunk out with the Junkrat, with the Thrall. It worked out very well for them. And man, Hugo's showing why they choose to go with that talent. But here we go. Moving into game number 2. We've got the one picking Towers of Doom here. So...
First one we've cast in the playoffs, gonna be good. I don't know about you. My favorite map to cast outside of maybe Braxis, because Braxis you always see wild stuff. Towers can always have counter opportunities.
That is a lot of fun, you know, the fact that it can be anyone's game at any point because you cannot attack the core unless you capture the altars. So here we go, BTG with